Well, firstly, a happy 2013 to everyone. I've seen a few finds roundup videos and thought it looked a good idea for reference point, so I thought I'd do one myself. Start off with some buckles. That's with leather still in, some D buckles, shoe buckles, one with a pin up at the top there, a few broken ones, a large one at the bottom. Yeah, nothing too special, but they're all good. Had some good military finds in 2012 as well, with the Bandsman's Lyre, the Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers cap badge, the Royal Engineers from the years of George VI. Another buckle that I found was the Caledonia Railway Company horse buckle. Still some gilding on it. It's pretty nice. It would have been all gold. I found one in Worth Point that's fully complete and it looks absolutely amazing, but obviously that one's been on the ground, so a bit worse for wear. That's a coronation of Edward VII from 1902, Children's Fete Medal. That's a late medieval harness leather mount. It's got little pins in the back to mount in the leather. I've had tons of shrapnel this year, but these two I quite like, so I've kept a hold of them. Got the time increments on. That one at the top's got the safe line and the arrow for where it would have been set. These are fuse parts from anti-aircraft explosives. Don't know what that little thing was, but I think it's pewter. It's quite nice and decorative, so I just kept hold of that. These were two of the 19 buttons, I think it was, back in July. I got from a small area in Overton, so they'd been burned, and it was good to find them. That was a good day. In that wee bag there, I've got an 1881 halfpenny Queen Victoria ring. It's quite delicate, sort of falls apart, so I've just kept it in a bag. That one came from a permission only done a couple of times. It was modern. A lot of tin cans and stuff, so I found that, and that was probably the best thing that came from there. Now this is the only bit of gold that I've actually kept. The first bit that I found was another ring with was it 0.89 carat diamonds, I think it was. I've got a picture of it still, so I'll put the picture up. But this is the only one that I've actually kept a hold of. But it's Robert Gray, son of Glasgow. You're looking mid 1800s for that. That was a cane frill, a silver cane frill, so that's hallmarked Birmingham. As is this Dirk kilt pin. Would have been a gate with the citrine orange stone at the top, or citrine, I'm not quite sure how to say it. And it would have had two separate stones that are now missing, but that's hallmarked AD and Lovekin Limited, Birmingham, 1920. So that's full silver. Little harness mount, pewter handle, more pewter handles. That one's pre-1896 with the hallmarkings on it, when imitation hallmarking became illegal then. This one I kept. It's a whole fork, but it's a strange copper or brass fork. I've never quite seen one like it. It's nice and green. It was an interesting one anyway, so I just kept hold of it. And that was a cufflink. I thought it was my first gold find, but it wasn't. It turned out to be just plated brass with a little stone in. It did have two arms joining, where are we? Just the little hole on the side of the bar, joined onto the back of that, but it fell apart when I was cleaning it. There's a box of just various copper coins, modern 2 pences, 1 pences, 10s, 5s, you name it. Got a few bullets, kept a hold down there, wee 22s, larger calibre ones as well. And over here I've got some just dud buttons really. That's more of the Overton buttons, but you can see they're sort of chewed up, and just the various ones from over the year. These coins that you see here, they were ones that I had previously, not ones that I'd found. I think a few of them are, but the like, so for instance the 67 halfpenny, that wasn't found in the ground. My gran left me that Victoria. I think it would have been a little 3p, but the other side's been counter stamped. That's a 1944 3p, again not found in the ground. Pretty good condition, wee thrift plant one. And I think that's everything from the big tray. In here I've just got just various bits and bobs, a big dandy button, about 1700s. It's probably a brooch front, sort of Victorian period. Again, more buttons from Overton. You can see the crest of Overton on them there. A few musket balls, little mountain plates, more musket balls at the back. Enough of them. That was a friend's finds there. It's 4 coins. Okay, so here's the coin trays. I'll start off with some lovely silvers. The top two, I've got 2 George III bullheads, both 6pences. You can see just the difference in condition between that 1816 and that obscured one. You can still see the bust of George III on the back. That's how I was able to tell what it was. But the second one was just far superior, far superior. Moving down to the smaller denomination ones, that's Victoria 1898 3p, 1877 6p, and that one is an 1895 6p. That one there wasn't a find, that one was left to me. These two were found, George V 6pences, one's 1935 and one's 1922. These George 6 6pences, I had both of these before they weren't found, as was Louis Elizabeth, that was one that I had as well. So these little farthings, I found all these last year. So that's a Victorian farthing, the first one that I found. Second one that I found about a week and a half later, I think. And then a George V farthing as well. That was a lovely reconditioned coin. Moving up to the larger pennies, I've got 1897, that was my first Widowhead Victoria. Again, another Widowhead, that one was slightly worse for wear. So on, there's the Bunhead one. That's the 1892, best penny I found last year by quite some distance. Sorry, I'm using this torch here because my camera is just awful indoors, so I need to light up what I'm looking at. Right, but this 1892 penny, it was in stunning condition, one of my best coins that I found last year. And the slightly worn ones, going down to George V ones, got some pretty good ones last year as well, and that 1920 at the end being the best of the lot from George V. Edward VII only got one good penny of his last year, that was that one there. That's a Clyde Navigation halfpenny ferries token from when the old ferry used to run across the River Clyde. Only one cartwheel penny last year, but I was delighted to get one. You can see it's been etched right across Britannia, but that's a 1797 George III cartwheel 1 penny, 1 ounce of pure Georgian copper, as Coinage Britannia said to me. And my only hammered coin last year, and that is a 1602 half thistle merk of James VI of Scotland, who then became James I of England. a shilling from 1826, but that's one that I owned before, not one that I found. These I have found. That's a Bunhead Victoria shilling and the Widowhead Victoria shilling. That's 1894, and the shilling Bunhead is 1877, I believe. This George V one was one that I had before, again not a find. Halfpennies, I'm sure I don't need to go through them, varying sort of condition, a few good ones. Quite like the George V ones, they seem to have some good copper for George V. Some George VI and an Elizabeth II, sort of newer one. So I mean that was pretty much it, other than I've got some other coppers that are in this other case. I say coppers, not all of them are. You've got an old 50p right there, etc. So that's pretty much everything I got last year that I've kept. I've filled up 2 blue recycling tubs with rubbish. I've still not taken it away, so it's sitting in my kitchen just taking up space. But anyway, I shall leave you with that. Wish you all happy hunting for 2013 and hope you find everything you're after.